So picture this. We're backstage at the 2026 World Championship in New Delhi.
Right.
And An Se-young has just won. She's completely exhausted. I mean, her chest is heaving. Her heart rate is finally coming down from like a terrifying 194 beats per minute.
Which is incredibly high, by the way. Just an insane physical toll.
Yeah, it is. And suddenly the woman she just beat, China's Wang Zhiyi, she walks up to her. But Wang isn't there for, a standard polite handshake. She's actually holding a microphone.
Oh, right. Acting as like a one-day reporter.
Exactly, makeshift reporter. And she looks at the woman who just totally dominated the entire tournament, and with just a brutal, refreshing honesty, Wang asks the ultimate question. She says, "How can I beat you?"
It's such a wild moment because it totally shatters the fourth wall of elite sports. The physical toll they had just inflicted on each other was immense. Wang Zhiyi actually cramped up during their match.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yet here they are just casually comparing maximum heart rates and swapping notes on their recovery meals.
Which it turns out is just plain white rice and chicken. So glamorous, right?
Yeah, the breakfast of champions, literally.
But when Wang asks that golden question, how can I meet you? An Se-young just laughs. She says, "It's a secret. I always want to win, so I train harder."
It's a beautifully simple answer.
It is, but the reality behind that answer is anything but simple. So today we're going to look at the massive, high-tech, and honestly slightly terrifying lengths that her rivals are going to just to crack that secret.
Yeah, we are deconstructing the current state of global badminton through the lens of An Se-young's unshakable dominance, or ASY as fans call her.
Right. We're going to explore this flawless world championship run the frantic tactical arms race by her rivals, including a secret player bred in a Chinese lab, basically just to defeat her.
Which is still mind-blowing to me.
It's crazy. And then we'll look at how her biggest victory this year actually happened completely off the court against her own federation. So welcome to the deep dive. Let's just jump right into that baseline of perfection she established at the 2026 BWF World Championship.
Yeah, that tournament is the perfect place to start. She reclaimed the title after 3 years by absolutely dismantling Japan's Akane Yamaguchi.
Who is the world number 2?
Right, world number 2. And ASY beat her in straight sets 21-17, 21-14. She finished the match in just 49 minutes.
49 minutes, that's it.
Yeah, it completely ruined Yamaguchi's bid for a 4th straight title. But honestly, the most impressive part, An Se-young didn't drop a single game the entire tournament.
Not one.
Not a single one.
To really understand how staggering that is, we need to look at her head-to-head records, particularly against the reporter from our opening story, Wang Zhiyi. So ASY holds a 21-5 record against Wang.
That is just brutal.
It gets crazier. At one point, she was running a 20-win streak against her.
Oh my gosh.
In professional elite-level sports, beating the world number 3 20 consecutive times is almost mathematically impossible. I mean, how do you play someone that good that many times and just never have an off day?
Well, you engineer a game that removes the variable of an off day entirely.
What do you mean?
So her dominance isn't built on raw, overwhelming physical power. If you watch her play, she doesn't rely on a devastating jump smash to end points quickly. Her secret is a terrifying lack of fluctuation.
Okay.
The gap between ASY's absolute best day and her absolute worst day is microscopically small.
Right, so she's just consistently inevitable.
Exactly. She builds this defensive wall that is predicated on elite pattern recognition. She's reading the biomechanical preparation of her opponent's shot, so the rotation of the shoulder, the angle of the racket face.
So she's not just watching the shuttle, she's watching their body mechanics.
Yes. She reads it so early that she is physically moving to the landing spot before the shuttle has even crossed the net.
Wow. It makes me think of fighting a boa constrictor. It's not like a lottery ticket where you hit one big smash to win or one venomous bite. It's this relentless, boring accumulation.
Yeah, just steady pressure.
Right. She just wraps around your game, and every time you exhale, she tightens her grip by 1 millimeter. She just steadily taxes your energy until you literally go bankrupt.
That's a great analogy because it isn't flashy. She pushes half smashes and incredibly tight net shots to disrupt your rhythm. She forces you to run and run and run until you simply don't have the oxygen left to swing the racket.
You just eventually collapse into an unforced error.
You do. And the biomechanics of how she constricts that space are fascinating. She controls the rally through repeated high-percentage choices. Because she anticipates so well, she's never lunging off balance.
Oh, because she's already there.
Right. She arrives at the shuttle early, which means her center of gravity is completely stable when she strikes. That stability allows her to dictate the pace.
So if you try to attack her, there's just no open space on the court.
Exactly. And if you try to defend some, there's no escape from the relentless placement.
But wait, if she relies on this constricting stability, if she's essentially a brick wall of pattern recognition, why hasn't someone just built a strategy specifically designed to feed her false patterns? Like, if she's that predictable in her stability.
Well, that predictable stability is exactly what initiated the massive tactical arms race we are seeing right now.
Oh, okay.
Every top federation realized ASY has one theoretical vulnerability. If her superpower is early anticipation, based on pattern recognition, feeding her false information turns her greatest strength into a critical liability.
Right, because if she commits to a movement line based on your shoulder rotation and you trick her, she's suddenly out of position. Her early movement works against her.
Exactly. And we actually saw the first cracks in the armor from this exact strategy at the 2026 All England Open in March. This was when Wang Zhiyi finally broke that 10-match losing streak to ASY.
And it required Wang to completely dismantle and rebuild her own playstyle, right?
Completely. Historically, Wang played a style focused heavily on changing pace at the net, trying to create opportunities to end the point herself. It's a very traditional aggressive approach.
Like a Tai Tzu Ying or a Li Chongwei style.
Yeah, exactly. But against ASY, pushing forward to take the shuttle early at the net comes with a massive opportunity cost. By moving forward, you expose your backcourt. And ASY possesses some of the most accurate offensive pushes on the circuit.
Meaning Wang would get caught at the front, realize the shuttle was sailing over her head, scramble backward off balance, and end up hitting a weak, desperate drop shot.
Right. And ASY would just feast on it. It was draining Wang's energy reserves instantly.
So what did she do at the All England to fix that?
She sacrificed the front court entirely.
Or she just gave it up?
Pretty much. She intentionally anchored herself in the late backcourt to maintain her own stability. Instead of trying for quick net kills, she opted to lift or push the shuttle high.
Okay.
She focused entirely on shot quality. The underlying philosophy was a complete reversal. Instead of trying to hit a winner, Wang decided she was going to make ASY generate all the pace, forcing ASY to burn the energy.
So she essentially tried to outconstrict the boa constrictor.
She did.
Yeah.
The sources even noted Wang adopted a sort of doubles-like rhythm for flat exchanges, returning ASY's quick drives with equal flatness just to deny her any leverage.
Wow. But as brilliant as Wang's tactical shift was, it was still a conventional adjustment, using standard techniques. China's most radical answer to the ASY puzzle is something straight out of a science fiction novel. They literally engineered a prototype player.
Yeah, they did. Enter Han Qianxi. She's a 24-year-old Chinese player who until recently hovered around 37th in the world rankings.
Which is pretty low for someone we're calling a secret weapon.
It is, but her low ranking wasn't due to a lack of skill. It was actually due to a strategy the Chinese national team calls strategic withholding.
I am fascinated by this. Between 2021 and 2024, the Chinese Federation intentionally kept Han out of the Super 750 and 1000 events. These are the absolute highest tier, most heavily scouted tournaments on the global tour where all the major ranking points are distributed.
Yeah.
And they hid her for a very specific technological reason.
Right. Modern elite badminton relies heavily on data analytics. The Japanese and Korean teams use advanced AI scouting software to build intricate movement profiles and heat maps of their opponents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The AI tracks everything from a player's center of mass shifts to their most common shot selections under pressure. So by keeping Han out of these premier tournaments, China was starving the AI of data. She was effectively a ghost in the machine.
So when they finally unleashed this ghost in 2026, she completely shocked the world by beating Wang Zhiyi at the German Open. The analysts called her style structured unpredictability.
Yes.
Walk me through the physical mechanics of this. What is she actually doing on the court to bypass ASY's pattern recognition?
The mechanism relies entirely on late wrist redirects. So when a standard player prepares for a cross-court net, he'll tell their shoulder rotation and hip alignment, broadcast the direction of the shot milliseconds before contact.
And ASY's brain reads that broadcast and she moves.
Exactly. Han, however, arrives at the shuttle with her hips and shoulders perfectly aligned for a straight return. She maintains that deception until the very last possible millisecond, and then generates an immense amount of torque solely with her wrist to snap the shuttle cross-court.
Just with her wrist?
Just the wrist. And by the time ASY processes the new contradictory information, The shuttle has already passed her.
But wait, changing direction at the absolute last millisecond means your own momentum is fighting against you.
Very much so.
If you show a straight shot with your body, your weight is transferring forward. To suddenly snap the shuttle sideways and prepare for a completely different return, the sheer torque required on your knees and ankles must be brutal. Isn't hiding a world-class player and banking on this style a massive physical risk? What if she just lacked big stage experience?
It is an extreme physical risk. And it is exactly the vulnerability the Japanese team exposed. At the 2026 the All England Open, Han played Akane Yamaguchi, who is famous for her relentless ability to retrieve 50 shots in a single rally. Yamaguchi dragged Han into a brutal, grinding 3-set match, and Han lost.
The analysts used the best terminology for this. They said her hardware couldn't keep up with her software.
Precisely. Han's game relies on a concept the Chinese call lianguan, meaning flow or connectedness.
Connectedness, okay.
In standard play, a player lunges, lands, recovers their balance, and then pushes off for the next shot. Han has engineered 0 reset time into her footwork.
Wait, 0?
0. The landing phase of her lunge merges directly into the push-off phase for the next movement.
Oh my gosh.
This overclocking of the lower body allows her to recover instantly if her wrist deception fails. But the systemic stamina required to fight your own momentum and maintain a connectedness is astronomical.
So doing that for 70 minutes against a retriever like Yamaguchi, she just redlined her cardio. The ghost ran out of oxygen.
She did. However, China's gamble on Han isn't just about beating ASY under today's conditions. It's actually a calculated hedge on the future of the sport.
Oh, right, because of the rule change.
Yes. In April 2026, the Badminton World Federation is voting on a massive rule change, shifting from the traditional 21-point scoring system to a 3x15 scoring system.
This would change the entire physiology of the game. I mean, playing best of 3 games, but only to 15 points instead of 21, it shifts the sport fundamentally from an aerobic marathon to an anaerobic sprint.
Think about the impact on ASY's boa constrictor strategy. ASY relies on 30-minute attrition phases to slowly drain her opponent's energy reserves. If the game ends at 15 points, that slow accumulation of fatigue is neutralized.
Oh, wow.
Conversely, a shorter game is perfectly tailor-made for Han Qianxi. If the rallies are shorter and the match is quicker, her cardio hardware doesn't have time to redline. The rule change would legally enforce the exact environment her high-intensity style needs to survive.
That is wild. So we have the world's best players, advanced AI heat maps, and literal laboratories trying to mathematically, biomechanically, and legally dismantle An Se-young's on-court system.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can.
But here's the narrative pivot that I find so compelling. That terrifying, stubborn resilience she uses to outlast her opponents on the court. It turns out she was using that exact same endurance to fight a completely isolated, exhausting battle off the court.
Yeah. While the rest of the world was trying to break her system, she spent 2026 dismantling a profoundly broken system within her own country.
Exactly. In April 2026, right amid her tournament dominance, ASY stood on a podium in Seoul to receive the 7th April 19 Democracy and Peace Award. She won this alongside past recipients like former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and it included a 50 million won prize. But she didn't receive this for hitting a shuttlecock. She received it for being a whistleblower against the Badminton Korea Association.
The timing and mechanism of her whistleblowing are a masterclass in leverage. She didn't just air her grievances randomly. She waited until the 2024 Paris Olympics. She won the gold medal. She stepped off the podium at the absolute zenith of her career when she was untouchable and had the eyes of the entire nation focused on her. And in that moment of maximum power, she exposed decades of entrenched corruption.
The cultural context of Korea's hierarchical sports systems makes this so dangerous. We're talking about a deeply ingrained culture where seniority is absolute law.
Yes.
And she stood up and exposed severe injury mismanagement. I mean, we've seen her play through immense physical pain, like at the Singapore Open against Chen Yufei, where she was visibly wincing yet still found a way to win. ASY revealed the federation was completely failing to manage these injuries properly.
And beyond medical negligence, she exposed the financial and psychological coercion within the system. The association was forcing players to use sponsored equipment that physically did not fit them, prioritizing corporate contracts over athlete safety.
Which is just awful.
It gets worse. She shined a light on a toxic hierarchy where senior players forced junior players to do their laundry, clean their rooms, and act as personal servants under the guise of tradition.
That is just unacceptable. And the fallout was seismic. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism launched a massive investigation. The president of the Badminton Korea Association was removed from office amid allegations of embezzlement and workplace harassment. Because of ASY standing completely alone against the establishment, players were finally granted freedom over their sponsorships and their medical treatment.
Now, analyzing how the global media framed this victory provides a really fascinating look into the geopolitical lenses of sports journalism. Because Chinese media, particularly outlets like NetEase, framed the story heavily through a transactional lens.
Right. Their headlines focus relentlessly on the money. The narrative was essentially ASY exposed the dark side and received 50 million won. Why do you think they stripped the moral victory out of the story?
Well, Chinese sports systems are heavily state-sponsored, highly centralized, and strictly result-oriented. The collective system is prioritized over the individual. From that cultural viewpoint, an athlete openly defying their governing body is inherently disruptive. By framing the whistleblowing as a transaction, an action taken for a financial reward, it softens the democratic impact of her defiance and contextualizes it in a way that is less threatening to a centralized sporting structure.
That makes a lot of sense. And contrast that with the Southeast Asian media in places like Indonesia and Malaysia. Their focus was entirely on the democratic and moral impact. They called her a champion of peace who redefined modern sportsmanship. They emphasized the immense pressure she endured alone.
Yeah, Southeast Asian media exists in regions with their own complex histories of political and institutional reform. They possess a deep cultural appreciation for individuals who successfully challenge rigid authoritarian structures.
Right.
To them, she wasn't just an athlete complaining about her boss. She was a symbol of systemic democratization. The prize money was irrelevant compared to the institutional freedom she won for the next generation of players.
It is remarkable how one act of defiance can be a financial transaction in one country and a democratic triumph in another. But what remains undeniable is the sheer mental endurance required to fight that institutional battle while simultaneously maintaining the world #1 ranking.
She fought a grueling three-front war. Physically, she pushed her body through severe injury and pain at events like the Singapore Open. Tactically, she faced down lab-engineered biomechanical redesigns from her top rivals. And institutionally, she absorbed the backlash of challenging a deeply corrupted national federation.
There is a masterclass in resilience here that transcends badminton. I mean, whether you are facing a corporate rival actively trying to disrupt your business model, or you are a junior employee trying to challenge a toxic workplace culture, ASY's approach is universally applicable.
Yeah.
Do not look for the flashy shortcut. Rely on relentless, boring consistency. When your environment feeds you false information, anchor yourself in your fundamentals. Be the boa constrictor.
Exactly. And as we look at the lengths to which her rivals are going, it raises a really provocative question about the future of human competition. We're watching sports rapidly transition into a data science. Federations are relying on AI heat maps, biomechanical hacking, and laboratory-style strategic withholding to engineer the perfect opponent.
Right. Technology is actively trying to strip away the mystery of sport.
Yes. So it begs the question, will the raw endurance and fundamental consistency that An Se-young embodies always win out?
Yeah.
Or are we entering an era where human athletes are essentially played like algorithms against one another?
When Wang Zhiyi held that microphone backstage in New Delhi asking, "How can I beat you?" and Sayan didn't mention AI. She didn't talk about biomechanics or heat maps. She just said, "I always want to win, so I train harder."
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if beneath all the strategic withholding and advanced analytics, the stubborn, irrational human will to endure is the one algorithm they will never be able to crack.